Welcome back, college football fans, to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, the only channel where we examine, discuss, honor, and celebrate all things college football across the entire college football landscape. If you are a fan and you've been searching for a safe haven, a gathering spot, a safe zone, then welcome home. The Touchdown Black and Gold vlog is the channel for you, where all are welcome here to celebrate all things college football. Whether you're a fan of the black and gold of Iowa or not, this is the channel for you. I'm your usual host, Blair Parks, and this is my Week 12 Picks episode. I can't believe that Week 12 is already upon us. I mean, each and every year, it seems like the college football season goes by like that, and it's only getting quicker and quicker every season. There are huge games on the docket here in Week 12 to where we're coming down to it. A lot of the conference championship games are yet to be determined, as well as jockeying for potential college football playoff positioning when some teams are looking to rise in the rankings, and hopefully nobody is looking to fall in those rankings, in hopes of ultimately receiving an invite to the 2024 college football playoff field, the last time that it will be a field of 4, because next season it expands to 12. Can't wait for that. But anyway, if this is your first time joining the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, welcome. For those of you who are returning, I say thank you as well for your continued time, your attention, your support. Everything is heading in the right direction, but I need your help. Not that I'm greedy, but I want to continue the momentum that we have here on the channel. So please like, share, comment, rate, subscribe. If you like what you hear or see during this episode, click that button to get notifications. And as always, each and every episode, welcome and ask for and appreciate your participation. Let your voice be heard. Exercise your right as a college football fan. Please get involved. Comment below on anything that I happen to mention during this episode, my insight, my commentary, my picks. I want to hear from you, the college football fanatic, and I promise that I will get back to each and every one of you individually sooner or later. So help me help you find more college football fans just like you. All right. So my usual agenda for my picks episodes each and every week, I'm going to start off by sharing with you, my updated Heisman Trophy candidates heading in to the pivotal Week 12. These are the 4 individuals that, if I was able to cast a ballot or a vote, these are the 4 individuals who would be in NYC at the opportunity to hoist the greatest award in college football. So I will give you an update on where I believe these individuals stand and who they are. That'll be followed by my underdogs of Week 12. Each and every week, I pick 4 games to where it really depends on the point spread. I'll give you 4 games, 4 teams that go in, either they're underdogs on the road or at home. And these are potentially 4 teams that I could see pulling the outright upset. So I want to share with you my underdogs for Week 12. And then my final segment of these episodes is what you all have tuned in for. It is my Week 12 Picks segment, which also will detail a slight preview based on the matchup. Each and every week I pick 13 games, and 4 specialty games are within those 13. So definitely stick around. You don't want to miss those. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get it on. Woo! Ric Flair style. All right, so let's go ahead and go into my Heisman Trophy standings updates. Let's set the mood here. That's right. They always call him Mr. Touchdown. That's right. They always call him Mr. That's right. All right. So here is my updated Heisman Trophy short list, and these 4 candidates are in alphabetical order. My first candidate, who I believe should be at the New York City Athletic Club, I have LSU quarterback Jayden Daniels. Next candidate, who I believe should be invited as of today, Michigan quarterback J.J. McCarthy. Next, Washington quarterback Michael Penix Jr. And the final candidate who I believe should be invited for this award is Oregon quarterback Bo Nix. So obviously, this is once again going to be the age of the quarterback. I mean, that's really what we've gotten used to each and every year. Now, occasionally we have the off year where a wide receiver or a running back will win the Heisman Trophy, but normally, 75% of the time, they should just rename this to the nation's best quarterback, because that's what it comes down to. It's skill players only, and more specifically, quarterback, who is normally going to hoist this award. Now, as far as the 4 candidates, if I had to pick today who I believe is most deserving of winning this year's Heisman Trophy, I think there's really 2 of these 4 candidates have really kind of separated themselves, but I think any of the 4 have ample opportunity still. There is still plenty of football left to play, but these 2 really, I think, have put themselves on the next level. I think LSU quarterback Jayden Daniels and Oregon quarterback Bo Nix should be the front runners. And between those 2, the one that I would award the Heisman Trophy to as of today, because I believe he is the best player in college football, is, to me, LSU quarterback Jayden Daniels. Now, I know Bo Nix has the best stats in the land, so if you want to give the award to the person who has the best stats, then it would be Bo Nix. But to me, the Heisman Trophy still represents who the best player is in college football. But we're kind of in an age now to where it goes to the best player on the best team. That is not the intention of this award. It should be given to the best player in the nation. I mean, I think really when I look at it as far as the last time that really the best player won this award, even though they weren't on the best team, had to be going back to Baylor quarterback RG3, Robert Griffith III. Baylor had a good season that year. I think they went 10-2, if not maybe 9-3 in the regular season. But hands down, he was the best player. Jayden Daniels is that best player. Even though LSU sits there currently with 3 losses, he is that team. He is the most dynamic, athletic, and best player in the nation. All right? So let me know what you think, if you agree or disagree with my current Heisman Trophy pick and my finalists. Let me know. Go ahead, comment, like, share, subscribe. Let me know who you think should be on that short list. Hey, where's this person? Or hey, this person doesn't belong on your list. I can't wait to hear from you. Let's just keep it adult-like, okay? That's all I ask. And once again, I cannot wait for your participation. I can't wait to read your comments. It is an absolute gift and a blessing and an absolute pleasure for me to be here sharing my love of everything college football with you, my fellow college football fanatics. All right, so that is my updated Heisman Trophy candidate list heading into Week 12. So my next segment, we'll go ahead and get this started. What is that? That can mean only one thing. It's time for my Week 12 underdogs. Take it away, one of my favorite cartoons as a child, Hanna-Barbera's Underdog. Right there, I'm just kind of dating myself. I mean, I'm a very young but very old 42-year-old. But these are my underdogs for week 12, to where 4 teams that are underdog via the spread that I think really can and will most likely pull the upset. And I look at some of these and scratch my head that what does Vegas see that I don't? Now, I know a lot of the times Vegas ends up being right because they do seem to have the inside track, but I really can't figure out why these teams are underdogs just in general, or why the point spread is so large. So let's go ahead and let me share my underdogs with you for week 12. My first underdog, my Chihuahua, this dog, because it's only a 3-point spread. Game in the Big Ten. Purdue travels to Evanston to take on the Northwestern Wildcats. Northwestern finds themselves a 3-point underdog at home. Northwestern, guys, one of the best stories from this entire college football season. A team that won 4 games the last 2 or 3 seasons combined. They lose Coach Fitzgerald a month before kickoff. They have an interim head coach who has 0 head coaching experience at the Power 5 level or Division I level, period. And here they are on the precipice of looking for their 6th win to get to postseason play. A team that even before they lost Coach Fitzgerald, they were still picked as a unanimous last place finisher in the Big Ten West. So what an accomplishment. I mean, Coach Braun, who now, as of yesterday, Northwestern has removed his interim tag. He will be the long-term coach up there for Northwestern. A great season. The man who saved this program. It's as simple as that. He has kept this team engaged, kept them from crumbling, and he has kept them believing, and they give solid effort each and every week. Purdue is coming off a big win last week at home over Minnesota, but Northwestern's coming off a big win last week on the road at Wisconsin. So I really don't understand why people are still doubting Northwestern. I mean, Purdue is a solid team, but I think they sit there 3-7, maybe 4-6. I don't quite remember their record. They're not going bowling. That's the bottom line. I just think right now Northwestern is playing better football, so don't be surprised if the Wildcats pull the string and pull the upset over Purdue on Saturday. My next underdog for Week 12, my Yorkie. Duke travels to Virginia. Now, Virginia finds themselves a 3.5-point underdog at home. This Duke team, they've had a very good season. Another one of the really good stories this season in college football. But without their quarterback, Riley Leonard, who is now sidelined for the rest of the season with a lower leg injury. And Virginia, they have been playing much better ball here as of late. I mean, they took Louisville last week to the wire, a top 10 Louisville team. They did get their first ACC win, I believe, the week before. So don't sleep on the Cavaliers. And plus, it's at home. So just don't be surprised if Virginia is able to get that home victory, which would be a big moment for them, especially with what they've gone through this season and last season with the shooting deaths of some of their players. That would be a great moment for the home crowd and this team at home for Virginia. So, Virginia, Duke, you better be on the lookout. My next underdog, the third of my 4 underdogs this week, my Labrador, another Big Ten matchup. Michigan State travels to Indiana. Sparty finds themselves a 4-point underdog in sleepy Bloomington. Indiana has been playing much better, much more inspired football lately. Last week, I mean, they took Illinois down to the wire. I mean, a high-scoring affair in Champaign, but they lost in overtime, I believe. Yes, that was an overtime game in Champaign. And the week before, they knocked off Wisconsin in Bloomington. So they are playing with much more effort lately. But Michigan State, I just think this team is due for a big win on the road. It's been a season to forget for the Spartans with everything going on preseason with Coach Mel Tucker, and what's going on there. A lot of their higher talent left very late in the transfer portal window to get out of East Lansing. They're playing very, very young players, so definitely a rebuilding season up there for Michigan State. But I just got a feeling they're going to go in there and take care of business. So Indiana, you better watch out for the Spartans. Now, my last underdog for Week 12, this is my Great Dane. When it comes down to the point spread, I'm talking about a big-time tilt in the Sun Belt. Appalachian State travels to James Madison. Now, Appalachian State finds themselves a 9-point underdog on the road. This is a huge moment for James Madison. They currently sit there undefeated. They're 10-0. They're ranked in the AP poll, but they are not ranked at all in the college football playoff rankings, which this time of year, that's the only rankings that really matter. The reason is this is their second year of the 2-year ban that the NCAA has this stupid, just ancient, archaic rule that when you transition from a lower level of football to Division I, you must transition and you're unavailable for 2 years from postseason play. This is a rule that has to be changed immediately. NCAA, you say that you think about the student athletes first and foremost, their health, their success, the opportunity for growth on and off the field, blah, 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 blah. If that's the truth, let these young men play. They have deserved it, and they deserved it last season. Here they are. They're going to be robbed potentially of playing in the Sun Belt title game yet again this season, just like last year because of this stupid rule by the NCAA. Now, to make matters worse, all eyes will be on James Madison. I believe it's in Harrison, Virginia, because College Game Day is going to be on site. So let's say the NCAA doesn't change this rule. Let's say it's not rewritten or crumpled up and thrown into the garbage, that this will be basically James Madison's Super Bowl this season. With game day being there, I mean, are they due to maybe come out and have a little bit of a lackluster performance? Maybe be a little bit on cloud nine, be distracted by all of this outside noise? Potentially. Now, this isn't the Appalachian State teams of the past, because we all know that Appy State plays great football. They have a history and a resume of knocking off big-time teams in big-time positions. Just ask the Michigan fans about that, all right? So, James Madison, the Dukes, I'm proud of you. I am a proponent of you getting to the postseason, but still, you better be on the lookout. Don't come out sleeping against the Mountaineers of Appalachian State. So, guys, that is my 4 underdog picks for Week 12. Let me know what you think about them. Do you agree? Disagree? Can't wait to hear from you. And until next week, underdog, I say adios and best of luck. All right. All right, guys. So please, once again, like, share, comment, rate. I can't wait to hear from you. Spread the word, spread the love about the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Tell your family, your friends, coworkers, your fellow college football fans to check me out here on the channel. And thank you for all you do. So that leads me into this week's primary segment. Welcome to my Week 12 Picks segment. Now, if this is your first week with me here in the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, very, very straightforward. This is what I do. I pick 13 games. Now, some of them are the big-time, on-the-radar games that we all are aware of, but some also are some off-the-radar games that still, I think, will big-time matter and be buku important when it comes down to the conference championship races, college football playoff rankings, or simply just getting to bowl eligibility. Because once again, week 12, it is time to put all your cards, put them down, and show what you've got. And within those 13 games, I always pick 4 specialty games when they are available. I always pick a academy game of the week, which includes one of the 3 teams from the academies, Army, Air Force, or Navy, as my way to salute the men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces, both present and past. I will always then pick my non-Power 5 game of the week, a game that's a huge matchup at the Group of 5 conference race level. I will always pick the Iowa Hawkeyes. Whenever Iowa has a game, I always will have my Hawkeye pick of the week. And then my last one is my spotlight game of the week. To me, I consider the biggest game of the week on the gridiron. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it, shall we? My first game up this week, big time tilt, a lot to play for, big time matchup in the ACC, number 10 Louisville. First-year coach Jeff Brom, formerly of Purdue, has got that Cardinal offense clicking. Louisville travels to Miami, a team under second-year coach Mario Cristobal. Kind of a little bit of a disappointment down there in Coral Gables. But to me, I think, like a lot of people, Louisville really has still a lot to prove. They really haven't had a tough schedule. They have 2 good wins on their resume, quality victories over Notre Dame and Duke, but they don't play North Carolina or Florida State, who are both ranked as well, and they didn't play Clemson either, which, yes, Clemson's down this year, but still, they're Clemson. That's a tough team to beat. So they have a lot to prove still to people. And can Miami look inward, get off the mat, and get a victory? They lost by a single touchdown last week against their in-state rival Florida State in a very, very highly contested, tough football game. So how do I see this game playing out? I love the Louisville offense. Jeff Brom, a guy who, quite frankly, every time that my Hawkeyes faced him, he always made me sweat a little bit. He had our number. He is an offensive guru, idiots avants of offense. No disrespect, of course. But I just think that this team is kind of smoke and mirrors. I like Miami this week. I think that they'll be able to get off the mat, come out inspired. Louisville hasn't found themselves in this position in an awfully long while. I think they crumble. Miami takes care of them at home. Give me the Hurricanes in this game. Next game up, a big game for one of these 2 teams, a Big 12 matchup. Number 14, Oklahoma. They travel to Elevation to take on BYU, the Cougars in Provo. Oklahoma is still very much alive, not only in the Big 10 conference championship race. Texas, obviously, right now is the one team you can say has the inside track to get into the Big 12 title game. Oklahoma is sitting there with 2 conference losses, as are, I think there's a 3-way tie. 4 teams are sitting there with 2 losses. So a lot to play for in conference, but also when it comes down to the college football playoff rankings. BYU, it's been kind of an up and down season for them. Their first year in the Big 12 at the Power 5 level. I mean, big win early this season over Arkansas. But how is this going to play out? BYU has struggled lately. I love Coach Kalani Sitake. I'm a big fan of him. And I think BYU, I have a soft spot down here in my heart for the Cougars and their fans. One of my favorite teams to watch. I just think Oklahoma has way too much offense. I think BYU will slow them down a little bit because they are big and physical along both lines of scrimmage. I think they will get the occasional stop, but I don't know if they simply can outscore Oklahoma. The crowd will be into it. It'll be a close game for 3 quarters. But come the 4th quarter, I think Oklahoma pulls away and cruises to victory. Give me the Sooners in this game. Next game up, huge tilt in the Pac-12. Number 22, Utah, and the two Utes. Utah travels to number 17, Arizona, to take on the Wildcats in the desert and Tucson. Whew, I cannot wait to watch this game. One of my favorite matchups this week. Utah, great defense. Backup quarterback is playing at a decent level. Arizona down the stretch here, one of the hottest teams in college football. They knocked off 3 ranked opponents back-to-back weeks. They find themselves ranked. Lot to play for Arizona and Coach Jedd Fisch, who's doing a great job revitalizing that program. As an Iowa fan, I've seen several times what has happened. When Iowa goes out to play the Arizona schools in the desert, it never ends well. It's one of the best unknown and forgotten about home field advantages in our sport. I like Arizona at home. I just think the way this team is playing down the stretch, they're going to find a way to get it done. Utah, their defense will show up and show out. They'll keep it close. But I just think Arizona continues their climb and their momentum. Give me the Wildcats in this game. Next game is a kind of off-the-radar game in the Big Ten, more specifically in the Big Ten West. Nebraska, under first-year coach Matt Rhule, they travel to fellow first-year head coach Luke Fickell. They travel to Wisconsin. These two teams meet up in Madtown, and it's going to be exactly that. It's going to be a ruckus crowd. This is a big game because both of these teams currently sitting on 5 wins, looking for that coveted 6th win to get to bowl eligibility, and that would be a huge step for both of these first-year coaches, especially for Nebraska. If Nebraska would have known they'd be sitting here pre-season with 5 wins, with 2 games left to play, they would have been more than happy with that. Wisconsin, I really don't think so. They were the unanimous favorites in the Big Ten West, I think primarily because of the name of Luke Fickell, but definitely a great hire. Both of these coaches are great hires, all right, for their teams, for the Big Ten Conference in general. So how do I see this game playing? Nebraska, when you look at their current starting lineup, their depth chart, it is a complete 180 from the depth chart of week 1. They've had injuries. They've had a lot of rotation along their starters on offense and defense. The quarterback position, they've played with a lot of grit, but Nebraska, quite simply, is just a turnover waiting to happen. Hell, they probably have turned it over once during this episode already. I like Wisconsin at home, a down season for the Badgers, but with the stakes being the way it is, I like Wisconsin at home to get it done, and those fans will be jumping around, not just at the beginning of quarter 4, but during the entire game. I'm taking the Badgers in this one. Next game up, a big matchup in the ACC, which quite frankly, it's been a down season in the Atlantic Coast Conference, which next year will add Stanford, Cal, and SMU. So the Atlantic Coast Conference, the Atlantic Ocean, but Stanford, Cal, is that not in the Pacific Ocean? Never mind. So we've got number 20, North Carolina. The Tar Heels and stud quarterback Drake May travel to Clemson to take on Dabo and those boys. Definitely a down season for Clemson, but a good response 2 weeks ago when they knocked off Notre Dame. How do I see this game going? I love what Mac Brown's got going there in Chapel Hill with North Carolina. Drake May is going to be one of the first quarterbacks chosen in next year's NFL draft. Clemson, though, they're looking to really finish the season on the right side, to finish up strong, a little bit of momentum. Young quarterback Cade Klubnik has had some learning curves this season, some speed bumps on the way. I think North Carolina is a better team. They have more talent. more speed. They're more explosive. But I just like Clemson down the stretch here. When Dabo's seat started getting a little bit hot, he's responded along as his team. I think they do the same this week. I like the Tigers of Clemson at home over North Carolina. And then at that point, it comes down to who else other than Florida State is good in the ACC. Perhaps Louisville, but I talked about, their issues. They haven't really proven much to a lot of people. And even how really good is Florida State? When you look at, there's 3 teams ranked right now in the ACC. Florida State, number 4, Louisville, number 10, North Carolina, number 20, and Florida State does not play both Louisville and North Carolina in the regular season, and vice versa. None of them have played each other. So how good really is that conference? Yet to know. But I like Clemson in this matchup this week. Next game, both teams find themselves struggling a little bit lately, but it's always one of the best rivalry games each and every year. I'm talking about the battle for LA. UCLA travels to the Coliseum to take on their crosstown rival, the Trojans. What a big matchup this is going to be. One of those really must-watch games each and every year. It doesn't matter what team you root for. This is one of those games, if you have time, you just have to watch it because of the rivalry and the history of these two programs. UCLA, hands down, one of the best defenses in the Pac-12. Coach Kip I do my own stunts here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. I don't do any edits, any reshoots, retakes. I just click record and send it. So let's try that again. Coach Chip Kelly of UCLA finds himself on the hot seat. He does have a stud quarterback for the future. True freshman Dante Moore, absolute stud. They go into USC, which is really suffering a down season with the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, quarterback Caleb Williams. Coach Lincoln Riley, much embattled a couple games ago, fired his long-time defensive coordinator and friend, Alex Grinch, the Grinch who stole their playoff hopes. So how does USC respond? And how does UCLA respond when these two teams now clearly on the outside looking in for the Pac-12 title game? Who comes out on top? I love the UCLA defense. I love their young quarterback. They play hard. They play physical. And that's why I think they will be a perfect fit for the Big Ten next season when they're officially welcomed. But USC, I think, just has way too much firepower. I mean, if UCLA can make the stops, dictate the pace of play, force some turnovers, they come out on top. But I think USC is going to come out with their hair on fire. I like the Trojans just to simply outscore UCLA. Give me the men of Troy and Traveler. So fight on, Troy. My next game, and this is a huge matchup too. I love this rivalry, especially now that both of these teams are ascending. They are getting better and better every year. I'm talking about the showdown in the Sunflower State. Number 21 Kansas State travels to number 25 Kansas. I mean, Kansas State, one of my favorite head coaches. Actually, both of these head coaches are in my top 10, maybe even top 5 favorite coaches in college football. You've got Coach Klein from Kansas State, and you've got Coach Lance Leipold for Kansas. Coach Leipold, when Coach Ferentz walks away, we would love to have you in Iowa City, by the way. And Coach Kleinman, we would love to have you there as well. So I would love to see these two coaches one day be on the sidelines at Kinnick Stadium for the head man of my Iowa Hawkeyes. But anyway, this matchup, a lot to play for here, especially for Kansas State. Still very much alive to get back to the Big 12 title game. If you recall, they won the Big 12 conference title last year when they upset TCU. Kansas now really needs a lot of help after last week's loss at home to Texas Tech, really due in part to their starting quarterback, who entered the game being their number 2 on the depth chart. Mr. Bean went out early with an injury. Reports are saying he is not going to play. He is unavailable. So Kansas is down to their third string quarterback. Kansas State, they just do what they do. They run the ball. They bludgeon you along the lines of scrimmage, setting up their play action. I like Kansas State in this matchup. Now, if stud quarterback Jalen Daniels returns this week for Kansas, a guy who I absolutely think is dynamic, the preseason Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, by the way, if he is able to play, he's had this back issue since late September. He has not returned to the field. Or if Mr. Bean, their quarterback, can return, I think Kansas definitely can win this game. But without them, I'm taking the Wildcats. Give me K-State on the road for a huge victory. Next, wow. Huge game in the Pac-12. Not just Pac-12 conference ramifications, but college football playoff ramifications. And yes, this game could have very easily been my spotlight game of the week, but it just missed out. I'm talking about this huge matchup up in Corvallis in the Pac-12. Number 5, Washington, who absolutely should be in the top 4 of the college football playoff rankings. It's ridiculous that they're not. Number 5, Washington travels to number 11, Oregon State, a Beavers team that has been rejuvenated with the arrival of transfer quarterback DJ Uiagalelei from Clemson. Basically, it's this. The winner of this game is absolutely alive to get to the Pac-12 title game, The loser might find themselves out, especially Oregon State. Oregon State currently has 2 losses in conference, so they need this game. All right, and Corvallis is one of the most underrated home field advantages and crowds in the entire nation. Beaver fans represent, they're loud, they're obnoxious, they're out of control, they're passionate. And Washington, the last few games, hasn't looked all that convincing, but they are winning. And they are currently atop the Pac-12, the best, deepest conference in all of the nation, period. That is not something that's even debatable. So you can try to hit me up via comments if you agree or disagree with that comment. But sorry, you're not going to faze me from that. They sit there undefeated atop the Pac-12. But will they be able to escape Corvallis with a victory? I'm actually taking the Beavers, guys. I love Washington, but I think their luck is about to run out. I like what the Beavers do, running the ball, the physicality. I think they will get to Michael Penix Jr. They will make him uncomfortable, and this will be the shining moment for Oregon State. They knock them off. They move up the rankings further into the top 10 and set themselves up potentially for a chance to play in to the Pac-12 title game, because week 13, the following week, they travel to Autzen Stadium to take on their in-state rival Oregon. So everything is on the line for Oregon State. That being said, give me the Beavers in this game. That's right. I'm taking the home team to pull the upset. Next game up, big, huge matchup in the Big 12 Conference Championship race, and especially for one of the teams for college football playoff positioning. Number 7, Texas, the Longhorns and Bevo, travel to Ames to take on Iowa State and the Cyclones. Iowa State is one of those 4 teams currently sitting there with 2 losses in the Big 12, trying to separate themselves to get into the Big 12 title game. Texas, they continue to have a lot of injuries here down the stretch. Last week, they lost their starting running back for the remainder of the season. Quarterback play since Quinn Ewers, he hasn't looked the same since coming back from his injury. And if you recall, in this series, Coach Matt Campbell for Iowa State has a history during his time at Iowa State of knocking off the Longhorns. It's a night game, I believe, their names. A huge home field advantage. I like this upset too, guys. I have a feeling that Iowa State once again is going to rain on Texas's parade. I'm taking the Cyclones. That's right, our in-state rival. the enemy of my enemy is my friend, potentially. But I just like Iowa State. I think they're going to find a way to upset Texas yet again. And then think of the chaos then that it would cause in the Big 12. And I'm a huge fan and proponent of chaos. Like the Joker said, introduce a little chaos. That's what I want to see. I want to end up seeing what? Then 5 teams sitting there with 2 losses in the Big 12. Then you would go to all of these different tiebreaker scenarios. How great would that be? So give me the Cyclones of Iowa State over Texas. All right, guys. Now we've reached time for my 4 specialty games of the week. Please like, share, rate, comment. I can't wait to hear from you, college football fans from coast to coast, north to south, east to west, and everywhere in between. Can't wait to hear from you. So here are my 4 specialty games of the week. First of all is my Academy game of the week. And this week, that includes the Black Knights of Army as my way to salute you and to take a bow, tip of the cap. Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers, travel to Army to take on the Black Knights at Michie Stadium in front of the Cadets. Who do I see in this game? Coastal Carolina, they still have that one quarterback who's been there for basically 10 years, like Van Wilder in college, Grayson Mullet McCall. Army this year, it's really been a little bit of inconsistency for the Black Knights, but 2 weeks ago they had that huge win over ranked Air Force on the road in Colorado Springs. I just like Coastal Carolina here. Now, this is not the Jamie Chadwell coached Coastal Carolina teams of the last few seasons, but they still have a lot of talent. I just think they're going to be too much speed, athleticism for Army. Give me the Chanticleers on the road to take care of Army. Give me the Chants. My next game this week is my non-Power 5 matchup of the week from the Group of 5 ranks. A huge matchup in the American Athletic. SMU, the Mustangs, travel to the Tigers of Memphis. SMU currently sits atop the American Athletic. Memphis, I believe, is a game behind, but also tied with SMU is Tulane and UTSA, the Roadrunners. So Memphis needs this victory to climb the rankings, because this year, unlike seasons past, the American has done away with their divisions. So the top 2 will meet up in the American Athletic title game in a few weeks. So how do I see this game playing out? I watched Memphis against Missouri early this season. They looked very, very good. SMU, I really haven't watched at all. I know they played Oklahoma tough early in the year, and their record is very impressive. But is that really more or less reflect who you haven't played? I know they haven't played Tulane or UTSA here in the regular season yet, and I don't think they will. But that being said, I'm just going to go with SMU. I like Coach Sonny Dykes down there. He knows, I'm sorry. Sonny Dykes is at TCU. I'm sorry. He was at SMU. But I love SMU, the Ponies. I'm going with them because, quite frankly, my daughter would not forgive me. I can't ever pick against the Ponies. Anything with 4 legs that has a tail, that's just how it is, even though the Tigers would fall into that category. But anyway, so I messed up. I'm sorry. But give me the Mustangs of SMU. I think they find a way to get it done. Give me SMU in this game. Now, next is my Hawkeye pick of the week. And what a huge game for Iowa. Everything on the line. And who would have thought we'd find ourselves here, Iowa fans? This year, it's been such a comedy routine at times inside Kinnick Stadium with the nation's worst offense. But here we are, currently 8-2 overall, and to punch our ticket to Indianapolis and win the Big Ten West title, all we have to do, Hawkeye fans, is win one of our next 2 games, and we find ourselves in the Big Ten title game. We've had injuries all through the season. And that just keeps on happening. The unfortunate news yesterday in practice, Iowa's most dynamic player, the All-American potentially, punt returner, defensive back Cooper DeJean, has a broken foot and will miss the remainder of the season. The hits just keep coming for Iowa. Down Cooper DeJean, down their number 1 and 2 tight ends during this season, Luke Lachey and Eric All, who hands down were their best weapons on offense. And early this season, transfer quarterback Caden McNamara goes down early in the game in week 5. But here we are on the precipice of finding a way to win this division and I think they need to do it this week. Illinois comes in, couple of big wins the last 2 weeks with their backup quarterback, Mr. Paddock, but it was announced yesterday that a week after the Cat threw for 500 yards, he's being benched because Luke Altmaier is healthy enough, so he's back to being the starting quarterback. Go figure. And if Iowa does not win this game, that would force them to go to Lincoln, Nebraska on Black Friday to have to win on the road in a hostile environment. Because I told you, I think Nebraska loses this week to Wisconsin. So in that matchup, Nebraska would be playing for bowl eligibility. Remember, the last time Nebraska went bowling was 2016. That's right, during the Barack Obama administration. So I think Iowa has to win this game. I think a must-game scenario, like I said, in Lincoln on Black Friday would not bode well for them. So I've got to take Iowa. Senior Day, at home. Please don't let us down like you did last season against the aforementioned Nebraska Cornhuskers. I was at that game last year on Black Friday when we could have clinched the Big Ten West. Please don't put us through that again. So I've got to go with Iowa. My heart tells me I'm following my heart and my head, even though I do know with how bad this Iowa offense can be and is, anybody potentially could defeat them, but they have their best game of the year last week, their most complete game, a 22-0 shutout against Rutgers. I'm taking the Hawkeyes to get it done and punch their ticket to Indianapolis. Give me the black and gold. All right, guys, so now it's time for my spotlight game of the week. And like I said, the Washington-Oregon State game just missed out. And I think this is a bigger game. Maybe not via the rankings, but what's on the line for one team especially. Number 1, Georgia travels to number 18, Tennessee. Everything right now is on the line for Georgia. All right? Because the way things are shaking out, the SEC may only get one representative in the college football playoff. But if things even continue to happen or go another way, they ultimately could find themselves left out of the college football playoff, being the 4-team playoff field, the last one we have this from here out. So UGA travels to Rocky Top, a hostile environment. They'll be ready to play after last week's embarrassing loss on the road against Missouri, the local team. For some of you who don't know, I currently reside here in the Show Me State. Columbia, Como is a stone's throw away. Tennessee was embarrassed by Missouri last week. I think Coach Josh Heupel will get his team up. The crowd will be raucous. They'll be into it. Can Georgia finish up this gauntlet they had at season's end, which now they have proven to most people, including yours truly, that they are the best team in the nation, because then they would have defeated their arch rival Florida, who really just isn't good. Then they beat Missouri at home, followed by beating Ole Miss at home, and now going on the road to Tennessee to finish that gauntlet. Will they do it? You know what? I'm sticking with my guns, or in my case, you could call these water pistols. Not pythons, but garter snakes. Preseason, guys, if you watch my Crystal Ball Bowl predictions episode, I said that this was going to be Georgia's only loss of the season. Excuse me. Woo! I'm sticking with it. I said Tennessee would defeat the Bulldogs, and I'm sticking with it. I think the magic of the Georgia Bulldogs runs out. Tennessee finds a way to win. Neyland Stadium is off the hook. They throw the goalpost in the river again this season. This week after this victory, down goes number 1, just like Alabama did last season. I'm taking the Volunteers at home. Give me old Rocky Top on this one. That's right. You heard it from me. I'm taking the Vols. All right, guys. That is my episode for this week, my Week 12 picks episode. Thank you very much for your time, your attention, your support. Please hit that subscribe button, get notifications, help the channel build. I want to find more college football fans just like you. Please comment, get involved. I can't wait to hear your feedback, comments, insights, insults. I'm fine with that. I'm a big boy. I can take it. Let's just keep it PG-13 if we can. So I do plan on doing an episode this weekend, an instant reaction and recap to the Iowa-Illinois game. Be on the lookout for that. If not, next week I'll be back with my Week 12 review show, probably on Monday afternoon. So until then, guys, enjoy the rest of your work week, your school week, or whatever it is you do, your vacation, your time off. Enjoy the weekend, enjoy your families, but first and foremost, enjoy the football. And thank you for joining me on this episode of the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Go Hawks. See you soon. Bye-bye.